All right, welcome back to Tiny Rig's YouTube. I'm Daniel, I'm the founder of Tiny Rig, and we just wrapped up this third gen Toyota Tacoma with a Alu-Cab Modcap camper, formerly known as the Canopy camper. It is Alu-Cab's truck bed camper. And this truck came in completely stock, and I want to walk you guys through kind of the conversation that I have with the customer and how we select certain items for the vehicle. So we're going to start from front and work our way back. So limited budget for this customer. He ended up spending quite a bit more than he thought he was going to, but ultimately he wanted to add a couple extra things. So we started with fog lights. Really easy place to add a healthy amount of light when you're on a budget. That is typically where I would start, there, and ditch brackets potentially. But up here we have Baja's new SAE fog pocket kit for the third gen Tacoma. That is wired up to the factory fog switch, so no auxiliary switch panel or auxiliary switch needed. Very convenient, very OEM style, 100% the first place I would add lights. If you need more light output than something like an SAE, you could add a Squadron Sport or a Squadron Pro and get a little bit more output out of them. Next, wheel well section, we did a cab mount chop. We did that because we had the vehicle up on the rack and this customer knows that he's eventually going to go to a larger tire. He came in with stock wheels and tires. We went up a little bit in tire size and we did an aggressive Yokohama Geolander. He really liked the tire that he saw on my truck. And so without getting into gearing, tunes, and all of that stuff, we said, let's just get you the right suspension kit. Let's get you the right wheel with the correct offset. And then let's get you that tire that you really like. And again, mindful of budget, larger tire, larger expense. So these guys, they're mounted on some RR7s. Those are Relation race wheels. Those are the flow form wheel. So it's a 265/70/17. And that wheel is going to allow him to run the big brake kit in the future from Power Brake that we typically add. That's on his list of to-dos in the future. But that flow form wheel, RRW offers 3 different wheel styles. They offer, or I should say, manufacturing process that they offer. They offer the standard cast, which is going to be least expensive, least amount of strength, and heaviest. They also offer flow form, which is this one, which is a really good blend of cost savings and strength. It's a different process of manufacturing than cast. And then the last one would be forged, which they also offer. Forged is lightest, strongest. This is a really nice middle ground where, in my opinion, it provides the best value to the customer. So that's the wheel that we actually keep in stock all the time. We have it in this black, we have it in a gunmetal, and then we also have it in a bronze. We'll get some close-ups for you guys so you can see the cab mount chop work we do. We take a lot of pride in that. Grind everything off, make it look smooth. Most people who walk by the truck would never know that we touched it in that area. We've got Total Chaos's upper control arm on there. That is a company that I've worked with since before I had the shop. And I've ran them on, I don't know, we've probably done them on 100 plus vehicles at the shop. Never an issue once. There is a reputation for squeaking, which typically comes with incorrectly maintaining them. So using WD-40 as a lubricant, which is pretty dang common, unfortunately, that is not how you maintain those. I keep a can of PTFE dry lube in my rear cup holder in this door right here. So every time I go and I wash the truck, I spray down the ball, hit it with the lube after, and then when I go and air down before I hit a trail, I do the exact same thing. It's 2 times where I'm kind of just on the truck. It's not a lot of maintenance, and my stuff has lasted a really long time. We also did King adjustable coilovers up front, so that has the compression adjuster on the resi. And what that's going to allow you to do is soften things up or firm things up depending on how much weight you have in the truck and the type of terrain you're on. And a lot of the builds that we do, we don't spec Kings. This customer really wanted Kings. It's something that he envisioned for this build. So we went ahead and did it. And then we paired it with a 650-pound spring and didn't need to add very much preload at all to get the correct ride height. And this is probably top 2 or 3 vehicles driving wise that's left the shop for how it feels. So that's going to be a formula that we move forward with the 650-pound spring, really no weight up front. And if he does decide add something like a low profile bumper with a winch with a synthetic line, we can add a little more preload, still maintain the ride height, the ride quality. But that 650 is a really nice sweet spot for what we built. Up top, Animus rack from Sherpa. This again is our go-to rack. We do sell the other stuff, but this is something that I love the team over at Sherpa. I've wheeled with them in Moab before I knew that they had a business, before I had a business. Good humans, very, very bright, making a really good product. And we have a Baja 40-inch light bar up top, which is on a switch that we'll open the door and show you here in a second. As far as the roof rack goes, so you're gonna get back mile to a mile and a half MPGs. You're going to be able to have a good place to mount something like Max Tracks. You could potentially put some storage boxes up there, especially on the long bed, having some more real estate up there, but wind noise as well. So just from a fuel economy and wind noise alone, I would say well worth the money. And then also their foot, you'll see a lot of the other manufacturers, the way that it's designed, they're going to a really small point. And this has a foot that distributes the load across the roof. It's also rubber, kills vibration, and seals things up. So just really well thought out, well engineered. And then the light bar, again, that's a ton of light. This truck has now, with just those two setups, has more light than he'll ever truly need. And it's, again, easy place to put it. So that's running down in a Baja Design's wire hider on the windshield over there, which pretty dang OEM looking, very, very affordable. We can drill through your roof if you want it to be 100% hidden, but from a cost standpoint, that's gonna be where you find the most value. Let's show them the switch real quick, Noah. So we mounted this right over here, just next to the buttons over here. Simple on off, and really clean, not very noticeable at all. And let's keep going. So next, Alu-Cab table, weighs about 14 pounds. It's secured up here with a compression latch and a cotter pin. Does not vibrate off-road. I've had no experience with it doing that. It does need to be orientated with the legs up, and that keeps them from falling out. That's a question that I've seen on the forums here and there. You guys will see the Alu-Cab 270 shadow awning deployed right here. So a couple things I want to touch on. Weighs around 60 pounds. Obviously we have the brackets as well. One main pivot point in the rear, which is why the bracket is designed the way it is on the Modcap. Same design on the canopy camper, but essentially it's going to go around the bend and be secured both in the front and the back, which gives it a lot of strength for that single pivot point. And then you also have tie downs in each of the arms, and you have a single leg in the middle. Now, I've deployed my awning probably close to 1,000 times. I don't think that's an exaggeration at all. And I've used the leg in maybe 3 or 4 situations. Really, really high wind, some snow and rain. Otherwise, you know, it can be pretty much howling to the point of you no longer wanting to be outside, and you can have the awning up here. Another thing to touch on is the fabric that's used. So it has a reflective coating, and it's extremely thick. That reflective coating makes the temperature underneath the awning way more enjoyable than if you go and buy, let's say, an awning that's half the price. You do get what you pay for. So if you're getting an awning so that you have good shade, want to remain cooler, then you're going to need to spend the money. There's not a lot of companies out there that have the reflective coatings on their awning, something to pay attention to. There's also Velcro on the sides. And like you see that arm there, you can actually add those arms to other places. So if you know you're going to camp in really rough weather, you can get the arms, and then you can also get a storm kit. Storm kit has a little clamp that goes right here like this. You tighten it down, lash it to the ground, stake it in, and that's going to allow the water to drain off, and also keep it just more taut in the wind. Your bag of stakes comes standard right here in this bag that's riveted on, and you leave them up there and you don't lose them, you never forget them. So really cool option. And then there's also the awning wall kit that will Velcro on, gives you a really, really nice setup. So if you've got a smaller truck, you want to sleep 2 adults up there, you don't have goose gear, you don't want to have someone sleep in the bed, you could set up a cot in that room. The fabric is really robust. It has windows, screens, a doorway. It's nice. It's what we used when I camped with my 6-month-old daughter for the first time. We had the Grenadier out with an Alu-Cab rooftop tent, the awning wall kit, and we set the awning room up like a little we'll call it like a nursery. We had the pack and play in there. We had a table for changing. The fridge was in there. The toilet was in there. It creates a lot of space outside. So very easy to set that up too. I'll probably have some cell phone photos that we can put up in here so you guys can see that. Keep working our way back to just the accessories, and then we'll jump into the camper itself. So rear molly plates. These are a very, very common option. More often than not, those end up on the truck to mount something like a propane tank or any other accessory you have. This right here is that 6-foot extension that you'll see. So long bed Tacoma, 6 feet. If you have a 5-foot canopy camper or Modcap, it ends right there. And this extra section now, they actually make a molly plate for it, which is pretty cool. It just goes in these grooves instead, and you'd have another location to mount something like roto packs that are nice and slim and won't stick out too much. I think as far as outside, those are all the accessories. Water spigot for that gravity fed water tank up there. So Alu-Cab has a very, very well built water tank. It's 13 gallons. It has a large fill port in the top right corner, and then it has a breather, and it includes the gravity fed hose and spigot. So to get water out, it's as simple as pulling the pin. So example of the convenience factor of that, I've thought about doing like a water pump. I've thought about doing a different water spigot back here because we occasionally will have customers who camp in extreme cold. And what can happen is if you've got water in there, it freezes overnight. You wake up in the morning and you're not patient and you just yank it over, you can potentially break the spigot. That's happened twice for us out of, we'll call it a couple hundred campers we've done. And there's some other cool ones out there. But the beauty of this is I was at the gas station the other day and I got some fuel on my hand, or no, I was cleaning the windshield and I just had stuff on my hands. And so I pull the pin, wash my hands real quick, close it up, versus, you know, if you've got only a water pump or you've got that other spigot, you're looking for stuff, right? This is always right here. Power tank, propane tank bracket. So this is a really simple propane tank bracket, which is why I've had it and always ran it on my vehicle. I like the company, I like the humans behind it. That's big for me. And it's also extremely solid. It's used for very, very rugged off-road use. Simple. We do have other options out there. There's the GP Factor one. There's the Expedition Essentials one that you guys might have seen. That GP Factor one's a brand new one. It's got a little tilt functionality on it. Really, really cool. But this is very, very simple. GP Factor rear door drop down table. So bamboo table slides in and out and folds up. So really strong. These are built extremely well. Food grade stainless steel. And this is really nice for cooking. Like, you lose that tailgate. But if you're gonna pull over real quick and you wanna make sandwiches, and you grab your food up here and you've got plenty of room to do your sandwich prep here, set a couple plates there and get going. A lot of other options available for the rear door. You've got some molly plate options up here. That's really common as well. Again, being mindful of the budget, we were trying to kind of get him everything that he was looking for, staying within that budget, or at least as close to it as possible. So another future add-on, which you can do down the road. No issue adding something like that to the camper down the road. The only thing you really would want to do at the beginning is that table I showed you up front, because the difficulty of installation goes up pretty drastically once the camper's on, because it's really difficult to get the correct tools up there. The other one that we like to recommend to customers is the screen kits. So Noah, if you walk over, let's go on this side, the sun looks a little bit better. Screen kits are one of the other really common options that folks get. When we do the install on these screen kits, they get riveted on and bolted on up top on the Modcap. We used to rivet them everywhere, but with the change to the camper from canopy camper to Modcap, you have a T-slot up there on the roof. And so we melt the fabric with a soldering iron to create a nice clean hole. And then we run M8 hardware with a big fender washer up top to attach them all. But once the water tank's in, you don't have access to this area where we do rivet them. So again, something we typically caution the customer with, I shouldn't say caution, but just make them aware that down the road, if you do want to add screen kits, they get removed. We missed this one on the exterior as well. So Alu-Cab a spare tire carrier. Built extremely well, bolts through the reinforced portion of the door, And then on my truck, I've got a 35-inch tire. On some of the other trucks, we can do a 37, but we do need to remove the molly plate so that you can open the door to a full 90 on those. As far as strength goes, originally when it came out, they said like 33-inch tire max. I ran a 35 for 2.5 years, beat the living hell out of the truck, and never once had an issue with hinges, anything like that. So really happy with that. And then let's see, as far as the outside goes, shower cube. So this is I'm not going to open this one up right now. It is just as simple as the awning. And this is just a privacy shelter, and you can set up a cockatoo shower, use it to have your nice privacy, or you can just set it up when you get to camp, leave your toilet in it, and just have a bathroom so that you got some privacy. We've also got the sleeping area. So up top, we'll get you guys a shot of this. You essentially have a flat platform that extends all the way front to back. That platform is plenty long. You have over 8 feet of sleeping space comfortably. And you have a small section of the bed right here. Now this is a section that I believe sets the Alu-Cab apart in a different way than kind of what gets talked about, which is just simply being able to push that small extension up on a gas strut, which allows you to get down without disturbing another person up here sleeping. I typically sleep with that completely open, better airflow, especially if you've got the fireplace. But again, that's a big one. The bed itself is also on that gas strut. So I'm going to jump in. I'm not sure how good the footage will be, but being able to push the bed up out of the way that simply is a game changer. I've had other campers, and when you have to move tiles around, figure out where your bedding's going to go, it becomes a little bit more work than I would say ideal. Now, obviously, much better than the other options that are out there as far as, let's say ground tent, right? Like any of the truck campers you get are for the most part going to be more enjoyable than a ground tent as far as setup and deployment goes. But when it comes to just camper versus camper, really nice option. It's on that gas strut, like I mentioned, so pulling it down is just as simple. And then you get a nice big thick mattress up there too. I don't need to add any padding to it. We did in mine. We stuffed a memory foam mattress inside of the same bag, and that made it a little bit more comfortable for my wife. We also do offer a mattress from Hest, which some of our customers really love. While I'm up here, I'll point out we have a National Luna touch light. So you're gonna get 5 touch lights. Those retail at about $65 each. They're included with the base price of the camper. They're all pre-wired, run through the tubing, nice and clean. And again, I've talked about this in other videos, but when you're going camper versus camper, which one do I get? Value to me is in the Alu-Cab because it comes with the 6 lights, all pre-wired in a harness that's behind our portable power board here. You also get USB-C charging, a reading light in the zipper pocket up here in the sleeping area. You have it on both sides, which is really cool to just charge your phone at night, or if you want to read a book, you can do that. The portable power board we have here, let's see if we can get you guys a shot of that. Really simple. We have an Anderson connection out. That's going to go to Goal Zero, Jackery, pretty much any device. We run this guy to a 12-volt plug, cigarette lighter, and you can plug it into almost any of those power banks. So very simple, clean board that we can add on to in the future if the owner chooses. We'll touch on mounting. So Toyota Tacoma, we've got 3 mounting points that attach to the bottom of the camper and your bed rail. We mark those. It's all stainless hardware. It's never going to corrode. Anti-seize every bolt. And we give you a little visual inspection line so that you guys can keep an eye on it over time for trips. Now, I have never had those loosen up on a customer ever. Like I said before, I've beat the crap out of my truck. Never had an issue with it either. So really well built. And then also I'm going to climb out and show you guys in the back what's going on in the tailgate area and our advanced seal. So no longer have a tailgate, but what that does for you is it gives you an easy entry and exit. Not sure if you guys hear the dog. Um, sweet. So it's probably time for us to go, but we have our advanced seals. So what we're doing is we are adding butyl kind of on all the edges in the perimeter of the camper. We're pulling your bed caps off, making a big O-ring under the bed cap, and then we're taking the same sealant that's used for assembly on the camper, and we're sealing up every seam. And so what you end up with is a truck that is nearly dust and waterproof. When I say nearly, I mean a composite bed's gonna flex a lot, and Toyota's only so good. I will say the Gladiators seal up incredibly well, and most other trucks that aren't composite seal up better than the Tacoma, but I can tell you I've seen trucks that don't have it and that do have it, and it's a massive difference. You end up with more dust inside your truck from climbing in and out at camp than you do from driving on the trails. Lights wise, you've got lights on each of your doors and on the bottom of the sleeping platform, top of the tent. They're dimmable and they're adjustable from red and white. And then also water tank bags. So good spot to store your guys' toiletries. That's what I leave up there. I've got headlamps on one of them, some USB cables, my lighters, and my tire deflator up top. Very convenient. Tire deflator I just grab right here, right, and then go and air down. So good option. There's also molly plates for the doors. You can also get an option to have windows here. And I actually just took my first trip in my new Modcap in my truck with windows, and I was actually never really a fan of windows before. I liked having solid doors, but after taking that trip, I was kind of sitting down low and staring out at the sunrise and the sunset over the mountains, and made me pretty happy. So I think we've also got some load bars up there, Noah, we can show them. That'll be quick. Guys, the Alu-Cab product line, the load bar that they make, which is the frame for all the camper, is the absolute strongest you're gonna find from like a strength to weight ratio. If you compare it to a lot of the other load bars, it's just way beefier, way less deflection. And the load bars up top, even when we do a canopy, we often get asked like, what rack can I put on? Load bars all day, every day, way cheaper, way stronger, and plenty of functionality to mount a bunch of stuff to it. So we've got the two load bars up top for him to put some kayaks on. And actually all the front runner accessories work with the Alu-Cab load bars, same hardware size, and they make a lot of accessories. So you can stick to the Alu-Cab load bars and get any of those accessories, and they'll work together nicely. One thing I didn't touch on in the rear is still king shocks, adjustable, but also the Archive Garage leaf pack. So we have a heavy duty pack on this one. Typically with no goose gear, I would probably spec a medium duty pack. However, with the heavy, he brings a lot of gear with him. So he'll be able to load up, still maintain a really nice stance. And you guys can see the truck's got a healthy amount of rake to it right now. But we can do medium. Truck drive's really, really nice. It's a little stiff in back, but the Archive still, in my opinion, that is driving much nicer than any other leaf pack out there. You know, Deaver makes a really good pack, but when it comes to the Tacoma itself, this pack is just next level. I tested it on my truck for years before it was sold. I really love it. Have a lot of belief. If you guys just need leafs, we can do that for you as well. But those are really, really well done. So I think that's it, guys. You know, if you need anything for your truck at all, we can help you with it. The build stuff, we do a lot of these videos doing the full walkarounds. We do a lot of them, and to be completely honest, we're really good at it. We do it so often, but we have our formula down, and we can build this stuff over time. So if you're watching this video and you're trying to figure out like what vehicle to get, 3rd gen Tacoma is a great vehicle. Gladiator's a great vehicle. We know how to build them really well. For any style of trip, right? This guy could go to Moab as long as he takes those sliders or those steps off and puts some sliders on. And with the suspension setup he's got, like, the truck's gonna take it, the camper's gonna take it. Noah on the way here, driving over here, was saying this would be a great road trip vehicle with the tire size and just the way it's built. So let us know. This is a platform that I know extremely well, and I'm happy to help you guys really enjoy your trips. So if you can hear me over the airplane that's flying over, appreciate you guys watching. Reach out to us if you need anything. Thanks.